Do we dare call them the dog days of spring practice? We could, we will, we have. And we will discuss the last few practices and what leads into the big spring game at Memorial Stadium in Lincoln on a Saturday, right here at the Voice of College Football in our GBR edition that we bring you each and every Tuesday, 6 o'clock Central Time. And the guy that makes it all happen for us, Greg Peterson, Husker Online. Hey, Greg, how's it going?
Hey, Mark. Yeah, just coming down the home stretch here for spring ball. So we'll wrap that up on Saturday. So,
folks, we take your comments and questions, so leave them there in the live chat and consider contributing here to the Voice of College Football. You can do that in a number of ways. You can at least hit the like button. Even if you're mad at Greg or you're mad at me or you don't agree with him or me or whatever, you're here and you enjoy the content. So you might as well just hit the like button, help us out that way. And you can also let people know that love Nebraska football or just college football, because we've got various fan bases represented here, that we're here talking college football every Tuesday. So join us and bring some friends with you. Well, you checked out to the scrimmage on a Saturday. Was there anything in particular that stood out?
I wasn't there
when the guys got together. Oh, you were not able to watch the scrimmage on Saturday. Okay.
yeah.
But Matt Rhule spoke to the media after the scrimmage.
You can't believe what Matt Rhule tells you. So yeah.
That everybody looks great.
I mean, he was. He said the defense won the day, which is good to hear. Those guys starting to mesh together and, playing fast and free. And, he was a little disappointed with some fumbles that, quarterbacks dropped a couple balls and I think maybe a running back or two. Coach Rhule is like, interceptions are a part of the game, but what really bugs him, the fumbles. But the offense did have, they did have a play at the end to actually win the actual scrimmage point wise. Jeff Sims hooked up with Marcus Washington for a long touchdown to end the scrimmage. So yeah, there was positives to take out of it on both sides of the ball, and I'm sure there was negatives that we didn't hear a lot of the negatives besides the fumbling. But no, Coach Rhule was happy. He seemed very satisfied, and you can really tell that he really likes his team thus far. So that's good.
Yes, Matt Rhule and Deion Sanders. That matchup is going to be a game that a lot of people are going to look forward to, not just in Boulder and in Lincoln or in the state of Colorado or Nebraska, but across the nation. That's going to get more attention than most games between two teams that totaled 6 wins from last year. That's for sure.
What, 5 wins?
Oh, 5 wins. Yes. I gave Nebraska too much credit. I was thinking 5 and 7. I was thinking 5 and 7 for Nebraska. Yeah. 4 and 8 and 1 and 11.
Yeah. No, I think Connor must have watched PTI this afternoon because Michael Wilbon and Tony Kornheiser discussed that. And I actually think they stole my video. I'm recording another run of it right now so I can double check on it. But yeah, that's going to be a pretty big matchup for the second game of the year. Because that question was it wasn't directed. It wasn't directed at Deion Sanders. The question that was asked to Matt Rhule on Saturday about the transfer portal, but we all know that Deion Sanders basically kicked his whole team off and said we're going to the transfer portal, and they have 42, I think, transfer portal guys already on his roster. And Matt Rhule just basically said that I want to coach my guys. So, and right now, you've really only had, I think, two guys enter the transfer portal, and one's Alante Brown, who hasn't even been here for spring, who hasn't even got, an opportunity to even get to know the coaching staff. And it was open that he could come back, but he decided to put his name in. And then Tyler Sinek is a backup quarterback that I just announced today that he's leaving with 3 years of eligibility left. But, that's great for Alante. He's got a couple years of eligibility left. And, like I said, he doesn't even know the new coaching staff yet. So, maybe he'll find a better fit for him somewhere else. But, kind of two different approaches. Obviously, Coach Rhule doing his part in the transfer portal and but just not to the point where Coach Prime does it. But that will be a fun game.
We can't really be too surprised at anybody entering the transfer portal these days. But I got to say, when I saw Alante Brown, I thought, aren't things good for him? And again, I don't know his personal situation. I'm just talking about in regards to playing time and opportunity on a wide receiver core that certainly has talent, but there's not a ton of experience. There's not like 5 dudes headed to the NFL on the wide receiver core. I just thought, he caught 16 passes last year, and it looked like he was going to have another opportunity to be one of the main guys.
And he would have had a chance for that, obviously. But, he thought about it. He wanted to come back at one point, and he just decided it's best to move on, especially when you miss all of spring ball and aren't involved with the team. So, yeah, probably a good move on his part, in my mind at least.
Vince is asking who might be in the transfer portal that Nebraska would want. Well, I've been looking at this transfer portal like everybody else, and because of what I do, I look at it like 5 or 6 times a day just to make sure I'm not missing anyone. And I got to say, I had 2 theories on this in terms of the majority of players that we would see in the transfer portal. And my theory has always been one group of players are group of 5 guys that were lowly ranked, lowly regarded coming out of high school, but they signed with a fill in the blank, a group of 5 team, and they turned out to be a really good player, really productive player. They developed, and now they're looking for that big senior season at a Power 5 where they can set themselves up for the NFL draft, be coached by better coaches, put in bigger games against better competition, set themselves up for the NFL. My second theory that I stated a couple days before the transfer portal started on April 15th that I think has started to unfold is we may see a lot of 2022 guys that were really highly recruited, highly ranked, but for whatever reason, didn't fit the scheme, didn't learn the scheme, had superstars in front of them, whatever the deal, didn't see the field much, if at all, last season. And then after going through spring practice just now, are saying that most likely they're not in a good spot entering 2023, and they're deciding they're going to hit the transfer portal. And what I've noticed is there are a lot of like top 150 players from the 22 class that have hit the transfer portal.
Yeah, I'm sure that, they've done their homework about who's out there and stuff, and, that they're definitely keeping an eye on it. But I think right now the focus right now is finishing up spring, with Saturday's red-white spring game before they really dive into it. And I think that's because obviously, you had a lot of spring games this past weekend, and you got another 40 or so coming up here on Saturday. And so I suspect that next week will be the big moving and shaking in the transfer portal, because you really haven't seen much right now. And I think that's, I think everybody's kind of, waiting for everybody to get done and then see where the chips fall. Because obviously you're going to have guys, I think after, we talked about this before that, after the spring game's over, Coach Rhule sits down with each and every player and kind of gives them the evaluation and stuff. And that's when, after that happens, that's when you see a lot of guys kind of make their mind up if they're going to leave. And So, but yeah, I can guarantee you they have their eyes on several targets, and probably I think they need to bolster their offensive line numbers. So that would be a key position. I think they're looking at both offensive line and defensive line.
Jordan Hudson, TCU, top 100 player in the 22 class, enters the transfer portal. That was earlier today. Oregon's got a slew of defensive players, 3 or 4 that were, I believe, almost all of them in the top 150 to 250 in the country. They've entered the transfer portal. And others. Washington's got a former 5-star defensive end, edge rusher, Savell Smalls, plans to enter the transfer portal. A lot of guys out there. Georgia's got 3 defensive players, including Bear Alexander, a top 50 recruit in his class, who had 2 tackles for losses in the national championship game. He's in the transfer portal.
It's crazy how this happened. It blows my mind, really. I mean, you come from an old school like I do, where, you commit to a school and you play there for 4 or 5 years, and that's that. But yeah, this age of free agency is sure looks a lot like the NFL, doesn't it?
It does. It absolutely does. But there are a lot more restrictions on what you can do in the NFL. So there's not that many.
There are, really, yeah.
When you look at the typical NFL team, what do they sign? Maybe 4 or 5 free agents?
Yeah. Well,
they're not like signing like
no salary
15.
cap. Yeah, no salary cap in college.
Moonbot says the 5 players that he's watching most on Saturday are Sherman, Borders, Wynn, Sims, and Irvin.
Yeah, that's a good list to be paying attention to. I like it. I think MJ Sherman could be a really good player that could, we've talked about his versatility and the many positions he's going to play, anywhere from Mike to outside linebacker to edge rusher, all in a single game. And yeah, he's definitely in. And Chief Borders is another guy that's, been highly talked about all throughout camp. I would add one on there too that I'm very curious has been getting a lot of love is Bryce Benhart. Matt Rhule's made it clear that he really likes what Benhart can do, and we talked to we were able to talk to Teddy Prohaska today and Ben Scott, 2 of the offensive linemen that are right there with Bryce, and they both given him glaring reports as well. So, I think we talked about that it's just a matter that, Coach Rhule had said that he's an NFL guy. It's just that he's got to be able to believe that himself. And I think he's starting to buy into that and has really looked really good.
Have we gotten word on how they're going to determine the teams?
Well, he's going to go, it's like they always say, iron sharpens iron. They're going to go ones against ones. He doesn't believe in, the ones going against the twos and vice versa. So, yeah, it's going to be an all-out competitive game. And, the one holdup that he was saying is that if he only had about 8 offensive linemen available, 8 or 9, that might make him change his mind. But, we talked to Uncle Donnie today, Donovan Raiola, and he was asked that question. He says, "Hey, we're ready to go. We'll do whatever we have to. That if that means guys having to play on both the red and the white team, they'll do it." So yeah, it sounds like it's pretty much set that it's going to be a full-on competitive game.
Now think about that,
which is nice. Which you haven't seen for quite a while.
Yeah. Well, think about that for any position, but especially. Hello.
That's my email. Oh, sorry.
Oh my goodness. Well, I guess you're never going to miss an email that way.
No, it doesn't always do it like that.
But thinking about the offensive line, if they've got 8 or 9 guys available, if anybody has to play on both sides, I just can't imagine them asking them to do that for a full game.
Yeah, but I mean, I think they have the numbers where they'll be able to work it out. The only one that we know of that will not be playing is Teddy Prohaska, and that's just precautionary because they don't want him to re-aggravate something. And Teddy wants to play, and he's a full go. And that's kind of funny too, is that they had everybody wearing knee braces, and they the other day they told them they could take them off, and they were all super happy. And Teddy's the only one wearing them now. So, yeah, no, it sounds like they're going to be nice and healthy enough that they'll be able to fill two rosters. And they can still, they can still trade off too. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know how they'll do it, but I mean, obviously it'll be a 1 and a 2 group for sure with the offensive line. So, but they've been interchanging so much too that I don't really think there's all that much drop off between the 1s and the 2s right now anyway in that room.
Do you know if we've been given a complete list of what players won't be able to play on Saturday?
No, they really haven't. I mean, nobody, only the head coach talks about injuries. So, we'll hear from Coach Rhule on Thursday, and I'm sure we'll, that question will be asked to him. And like I said, the only one I really know for sure, well, besides Teddy, would be, Casey Thompson and Logan Smothers and Ty Robinson, just all the guys that haven't been participating in spring, that they make them wear a gold jersey where they go out and they kind of do athletic stuff, football moves and stuff, but aren't really participating in any of the team stuff. So there are, there's a good probably dozen guys that haven't been taking part in spring ball that obviously won't play. So.
All right, we still have
no real injuries, that have happened in spring to keep anybody out.
We still have yet to determine what we're going to do here at the Voice of College Football. I've got to size up all the different spring games and see when we'll be live and what we'll be doing. But keep your ears open, everyone. Keep those notifications on, and we will figure all of that out versus everybody else that's playing on Saturday. Jara's got a question. She says, going back to the Deion Sanders, Matt Rhule, back and forth, compare Deion's style of coaching to Matt Rhule's style of coaching. Who is more real? Well, I tend to trust Matt Rhule more than Deion Sanders at this point. And that doesn't mean Deion Sanders couldn't turn out to be just a phenomenal coach, because he might.
Oh, yeah.
And he already has been at the Jackson State HBCU level. But you got to trust, at least I do at this point, Matt Rhule having a much higher floor than Deion Sanders at this point.
Yeah, I mean, and do we know how long Deion Sanders sticks with coaching? He's such a personality, such a kind of a mythical guy. I mean, just like a godlike guy in football. That, I don't know. It doesn't seem like he's really down for coaching for 20 years, or is just something that he's having fun doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Where Matt Rhule, that's his profession. That's what he's going to keep doing.
It's a grind, that's for sure. And so I don't want to judge anyone's work ethic, but it is a grind.
I mean, is Deion doing it because his son is playing college football too? Is he going to give it up when his son's gone? I don't know.
It's a thought.
But I don't want to say anything bad about Deion. I love the guy. I've loved watching him throughout my whole life. And yeah, I respect the hell out of Deion. I mean, it would be fun to play for Coach Prime, definitely.
So earlier, yes.
He does have a very good way with young people as well. Watching him at camps and stuff, work with them.
You're talking about Deion.
Yeah.
All right, Alan, appreciate you being here as always. Thank you for that. Earlier today, the preseason football power index was released. We can always give that a look, see what the folks at ESPN and their myriad of computers, how they project Nebraska football and what they've got going right now. And then we will dive into everybody's thoughts about this one and continue to leave those comments and questions there in the live chat. So right now, from the top, you see the teams there. Now we go down to Nebraska. ESPN is Nebraska at 52.
Huh.
So this is how I understand how this works, Greg, is that basically they're determining the best teams in the country 1 through 133 based on mostly talent. So there's a lot of recruiting ranking that goes into this. And then, of course, how good was the team last year? How much production's coming back? Is the starting quarterback coming back? They tend to downgrade teams if they lost their head coach, unless they've upgraded. And so it's basically a talent ranking to a certain extent. And that's where they stand on Nebraska right now, 52. And then they put that together with the schedule difficulty, and then they come out with a win-loss record. So for Nebraska, it's 5.7 wins and 6.3 losses. So that's going to be kind of tough to hit 5.7 wins, but I think maybe 6-6 is what that sounds like.
Yeah, I would say, yeah. That's an improvement. You're making a bowl game.
They've got Nebraska behind Illinois in the Big Ten West.
That's higher than I thought it would be. I mean, like I talked to you off the air that I'd only heard that Ohio State was number one, and they were taking a lot of flack for it. But yeah,
they've got three teams that had pretty good seasons right behind Nebraska. Duke went 9-4. Houston had a good season, and Tulane, of course, won the Cotton Bowl against USC.
So you got Purdue, Illinois in front of them. I'm sure Minnesota,
Purdue
Iowa
at 50, Illinois at 45, Iowa's at 37, Minnesota at 33. Who's left? Probably just Wisconsin.
Got to be there.
Where's Wisconsin? They're not
Penn
that
State,
high, are they?
Oh, they're there.
There's Wisconsin at 20.
And what? Penn State's 10th, aren't they?
Got Penn State at 10, Michigan 6, and Ohio State number 1.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting.
That's what they've got. I've been a critic of the FPI through the years. I've just caught a lot of flaws in it, what I thought were flaws, but no system's going to be perfect. You can't predict the future, but
actually, I was in the car earlier and listening to the Paul Feinbaum show, and somebody had brought up the Ohio State ranking, and Feinbaum, I'm sure he was joking. He's like, I've worked at ESPN for 10 years and I've yet to meet this EFI guy.
Yeah, I didn't run into him, that's for sure.
Yeah.
There's been a handful of times that I really attacked the FPI because I didn't think it made much sense. Now, I only have slight issues with this list. I don't think that Ohio State should be number 1, but there's not been any games played to discount that. I think that they're awfully close to the top, but they lost their 3 best offensive linemen, and they lost what might be the best quarterback in the country, and they had a pretty marginal defense last year. I don't know that they're number 1.
Yeah, it's kind of shocking to me in that situation.
Yeah. There's a lot of recruiting rankings that go into that. I think they are really heavy on recruiting rankings.
Yeah, obviously.
All right, folks, comments, questions about the FPI or spring practice or otherwise, just let us know. Alan says Nebraska is going to finish at 8-4.
Like it. That would be nice.
That would be a definite upgrade and a nice first season for Matt Rhule for sure, regardless of who they lost to and by how much. Even if they lost those 4 games by 60 points, that's a huge
Yeah.
upgrade. Yes.
I see Dan's flying the new Herbie logo that was just made official yesterday there. For his
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
What is the deal with the new logo?
I don't know. They basically redid it, and it was just something to, I don't know, get people talking, I guess.
Okay. Looks good.
They redid old Herbie Husker, and
Okay.
yeah, they made a big deal out of it. They actually made a pretty good video out of it, but for me, I don't really, I couldn't care less what Herbie Husker looks like.
Well, they know every time that they change a color scheme or change a uniform or a jersey or a mascot that they're going to sell a certain amount of merchandise, because a lot of people like to keep up with the latest.
Absolutely.
Matt Rhule, I could go off the top of my head here, bone-led, corn-fed, but I'm going to be lazy and look up Matt Rhule. Let's see. Matt Rhule lost a bowl game at Temple, and he split 2 bowl games at Baylor. He won the Texas Bowl. That was against Vanderbilt, and he lost the Sugar Bowl. That was against Georgia. So 1 and 2. There you go.
That one counts.
Just the one?
No, the one against Georgia. Yeah, I'll give that one to Vanderbilt. Hey, they were okay last year. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, I lived in Nashville for 10 years, so yeah, I had to suffer with Vanderbilt football for that whole time.
Did you have to cover it?
No, but just had to hear about it a lot.
All right.
And drive by the empty stadium every now and then.
Yeah.
Like when Georgia would play there, the streets would be, or all the, areas that you could tailgate in were all Georgia people. Just took over the place. Or whatever team they'd be playing. Did go to some baseball. I did go to some baseball games though.
Baseball games? Oh, yeah. What, their AA team or the Vandy team?
No, Vanderbilt. Yeah. Very good baseball program.
Do we expect a lot of players a lot of high school players at the spring game on Saturday?
Oh yeah, there's huge list of visitors. It probably take 2 hours to run through the whole list. But yeah, you can go to Husker Online there on 3 and check out the list of all the guys visiting right there. But yeah, huge recruiting day on Saturday. I'm gonna have too many guys that I'm gonna try to shoot video of while they're there. It's gonna be pretty difficult. Try to get everybody,
In terms of not just for you, but everyone that you work with, are there certain storylines? I know obviously the game's got to play out and you got to see who stands out and all of that, but going into this, particular positions or players that this may be a bigger spring game for?
I it's pretty much you're just going to kind of wait and see, what unfolds there. With our standpoint is that you've only got to see, you've seen 3 practices and basically is the same thing each time. You're seeing the same periods, so you're not actually getting to see any of the 1-on-1 and the 7-on-7 and all that. But besides the obvious storylines, with say the offensive line and what's going on at quarterback and obviously the competition in the running back room and the wide receiver room. I mean, how does the defense play? How do those linebackers look? And how's everything gelling together? But, most of the writers and stuff, they'll come up with a game plan right afterwards. They talk about who's going to do what, basically, and kind of go from there. I mean, my job's pretty straightforward every week anyway, so I don't really get involved with the planning stages on what they're going to be talking about.
And real life tackling.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Football. All right.
That's why, I mean, I think the fans that'll be there, they're going to be treated to a real game for a change. I mean, I can't remember the last time that you actually, had a game where the quarterbacks were live, and I mean, you got to go back to Bo Pelini days for that. So, yeah, I think the fans are really going to be satisfied, and obviously, they get to see what the offense looks like under the new coaching staff and a new defense, and obviously a defensive scheme that they've never seen before. So there's going to be a lot of things to watch on Saturday. I got a text from our old sponsor, Harry. He said he's going to be there.
Nice.
So him and his wife and his grandson are going to be there. Harry Arthur.
Very good.
So, yeah.
Very good.
He was hoping for a better season, and I said, I think we all are, Harry.
Yeah, I've got to think that this team's going to be better than 4-8 this year. I just think that there are so many loose ends that are going to be tightened up, and with Matt Rhule in play, not that he can fix everything, but I just think are going to be so more disciplined, and just fundamentals are going to be taken care of. And absolutely.
Well, I mean, it's, it really is, like I've said many times, just to have an old school coach that knows how to win and knows how to be successful. Obviously, that's in the trenches, and that's with fast, athletic dudes. And I mean, I mentioned earlier, he always says iron sharpens iron. And you have every single coach on that coaching staff that says the same thing. I mean, you hear it every day. So you really got to believe that, this is going to be a team that is ready to play each and every week and hungry to play and believe in their system and their coaches. So I think the attitude right there is going to help them tenfold than what they've been used to, at least the guys that have been on this roster for a few years.
And you said Frank Solich is due to hit town on Friday.
Yeah, he'll be in Memorial Stadium on sixth floor press box, and we have a press conference with him at 1:00 Central. So that will be interesting to hear from old Coach Solich. And obviously it'll be the first time he's been back inside Memorial Stadium since he departed here.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that is awesome. Certainly that the Nebraska job was, it's one of the best jobs in the country even today, but certainly was back then. And he did a nice job. No, he didn't meet the standard of Tom Osborne, but I don't know that anyone could have done that. So he gets let go after a 9-3 season. I don't know if he had aspirations of getting back to that type of program again, but we know that he settled in at Ohio University and had a great run. They're a program that achieved very little before he stepped foot on campus, and he established a winning culture and environment there, and they had a great run under him for close to 20 years.
Yeah, amazing.
So yeah, we wish him all the best because you know him and you've certainly interacted with him. I have not, but he's got a great reputation in college football. Everybody that's connected to college football that knows anything respects him greatly. Absolutely.
It'll be nice to see him and Coach Osborne together on Saturday.
Greg, what is a runza?
It's a very tasty Nebraska delight.
A delight, like a dessert or a regular main course food?
It's a sandwich.
Okay. Like a sub?
No, it is. It's ground beef and a little bit of sauerkraut, or no, not sauerkraut, cabbage. Ground beef and cabbage and some spices, and it's wrapped. It's in a dough. It's encased in dough, and it's about like yay big. But yeah, they're awesome, and you can get they have different flavors. You can get a regular one or cheese or whatever other ones that they have specialty ones too. But it's been a staple around here for a long time, and they've only let a couple of stores open in neighboring states. Just a tiny handful of border states here, but it's a Nebraska staple. And if you've never had one, you need to try one.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's that and Valentino's Pizza are the two sponsors of Nebraska athletics. And yeah, anybody that is from here and moves away, they crave both of those things and can't get enough of them when they come back to visit.
I'll have to give that a shot. I'm not huge on cabbage.
It's like a German. There's not a lot of cat. You don't really even notice that it's in there. But it's kind of I think it's got German ancestry. And it's kind of funny.
Like it.
It's kind of funny too, but people make homemade ones too that are really tasty. And there's a grocery store called Leon's Market that they make homemade ones and they sell them on Wednesdays and Saturdays, but they have to call it Bunza because Runza has the copyright name on it.
Yeah, everybody's chiming in on the Runzas.
Oh, people love them.
Very cool.
And the dough is nice and soft and stuff. So I mean, oh yeah,
that sounds good.
Kind of like a meat pie that is kind of in the shape of kind of like a hoagie bun almost,
okay.
or a wider like a wider hoagie that you're gonna have, say at Jersey Mike's or something like that.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm into Jersey Mike's, definitely. All right, everyone. I guess we'll go once and we'll go twice and we'll go 3 times and see if anybody has any more comments or questions there in the chat. I don't have anything else to hit on for this week. You, Greg?
I don't know. I kind of roll with the punches, but hey, I mean, like I said, we'll hear again from Coach Rhule on Thursday and kind of get the final plan for Saturday's game and obviously who's in and who's out and kind of how they wrapped up spring ball. So he's been very happy with the effort and the progress that they've made, and I think most of the coaches will say the same thing. So, but yeah, we also we want to see all those highly touted guys that came in the transfer portal, see what they can do. Like we already mentioned, like MJ Sherman. So we talked to Corey Collier today too, the transfer safety from Florida. So it's going to be nice to see all those guys actually get in some game action. And I can't wait to see what Jeff Sims does at quarterback as well. And also, I did fail to mention that Heinrich Harburg really has, he's taken over that number 2 spot behind, him and Jeff Sims are fighting it out really right now without Casey Thompson in there. So Heinrich's had a really, really great spring and has a real shot to compete for the job. So that's always nice.
All right, folks, appreciate you being here. Make it on back next Tuesday, and we will review the spring game and anything else that hits the news for Nebraska football in the meantime. And again, it's next Tuesday at 6 Central Time. We can benefit your brand, your platform by way of sponsorship. Hit me up at MarkRogersTV at Gmail, and we will let you know what we have available. And we'll make it on back here next week and bring a friend or 2 or 50 with you, and we'll talk Nebraska football then. All right, Greg, enjoy the game. Hope you get some decent weather.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's like mid-50s or so, but at least I don't think it's supposed to rain, so that's a good thing. But, it might creep up into the 60s. Let's hope.
There we go. All right, everyone. We'll see you back here next week.